We are here. We are waiting. Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this is going to be this new review is going to be for a series I'm going to be starting to review all the movies of, and that is, of course, none other than what you've probably been long waiting for me to talk about, the Transformers movies. Now, guys, this is a series that's... So, guys, yes, you all probably should know I really love the first one a lot, and I do like Bumblebee the most of the two. I don't really like any of the four sequels, but I gotta give these sequels a rewatch because the last time I saw these sequels was in theaters, and I have not seen them again since, so... Yeah, anyway, let's kick off the whole series with the movie that started it all, and that is Transformers 2007. And guys, I'm only reviewing the live-action stuff. The animated movie doesn't really count. So this is only just for the live-action movies. That's the series I'm reviewing, especially because I'm also reviewing this because we have another movie coming out in 2023 called Transformers Rise of the Beasts. So we want to get a little prepped before, a year early, before that movie comes out in 2023. Around the summertime of that year. So anyway, what is the first one, the one that kicked it all off, about? Well, the noble Autobots and Decepticons, two intergalactic races of robots, crash land on Earth, and also have the ability to transform into certain vehicles, or jets, or trucks, or cars, or... They battle for the Allspark, the ultimate power source, whose location is held by a high schooler named Sam Witwicky. Now, I gotta say, when I was a kid, I was never too much of a fan of Transformers cartoons. I mean, yeah, I did have some of the toys, and have seen some episodes of Energon around when I was in elementary school or kindergarten or something like that, but the series was just never my thing, really. I was kind of more of a Marvel geek or a Star Wars geek, but anyway, when everyone saw the announcement teaser that there was going to be a live-action Transformers movie, which I saw the teaser for when I went to go see Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest back in 2006, almost every single person, when they saw the teaser, had their mouths open they were Hollywood was really going to make a big risk of turning what was mostly just worked as an 80s cartoon about giant robots known as the Transformers into an actual live-action film. And we're just so pumped they cannot wait. It was probably one of the most talked about teasers of 2006, and probably one of the most really anticipated blockbusters of 2007. It was pretty much on its way to becoming the next biggest hype thing since Star Wars, or Spider-Man 2002. It was really that hyped among just everybody. Almost everyone in my elementary class was just so hyped for this movie. Almost a lot of them liked Transformers. They could not eagerly wait. They wouldn't stop talking about all the trailers. It was so well talked about in elementary school. When the movie finally did come out in July 2007, nearly every single person I knew had all saw the film in theaters that summer. Nearly the whole theaters were just lined up with so many kids who had watched the series or were getting introduced to the series, and whose parents grew up with the 80s series. Yeah, it was just it's one of those really big, it was probably one of the biggest things to come out that year. While I didn't see it in theaters, unfortunately I missed it, my family and I then rented the film from Blockbuster, and I gotta say, this movie was awesome! Almost every Transformers fan most Transformers fans just adored this. Some people were a little skeptical Michael Bay was going to direct this, but whoa! They were pleasantly surprised. It was a little bit Some people loved it, or some people just thought it was actually tolerable for a Michael Bay movie. Like, seriously, I absolutely enjoy it to this day. This is the only Michael Bay Transformers movie I enjoy, and you're gonna see why, because I will be reviewing all the sequels too. Yeah, like, this movie came out, it was like the next Star Wars, or the next Spider-Man, or the next Matrix, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it was probably the most talked about movie this summer. The one almost everybody kept going to see more and more. Like, it made over 700 million worldwide at the box office, and 310 million domestically, and over 70 million in its opening weekend alone. Like, almost everyone in my town went to go see it. Everybody. It was that popular. Now, so anyway, let's get on with the good qualities of this. So the positives are there's a lot of really awesome action scenes, like camera and effect-wise, some impressive CGI effects, especially for the Autobots and the Decepticons even. So their designs are a little bit off, but I'll get to that later. And some of the voice actors reprisal roles from the 80s Transformers series, especially Peter Cullen, who voiced Optimus Prime in the 80s show, actually voices him again for this. And I don't think they could have picked anyone else for Optimus Prime, because he is pretty much the only choice. If you're going to cast Optimus Prime, Peter Cullen is the only one who can do it right. There's an epic soundtrack composed by Steve J. Blonsky, especially the end credits music, What Have I Done by Linkin Park. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington, by the way. So sad. Decent acting performances, and especially from Shia LaBeouf, only in the first film anyways. He was taller. I hate Sam in the sequels, guys. And John Turturro as Seymour Simons, only in this film. He annoyed me in Revenge of the Fallen. The Autobot arrival scene, due to the magic of CGI and the power of the music, is very perfect. When all the Autobots start arriving on Earth, they find all the vehicles they transform into, and you really get that nice feeling to it. It's good to see the Transformers we know and loved from the cartoons. They finally appear on screen, and you never get a feeling like that. When Jazz dies in this movie, unlike all the sequels, they actually treated the one who died as a character, rather than forgetting him and continuing the story as if he never existed. Like, at all. And it's even pretty faithful to the source material, such as the freedom is the right of all sentient beings line, and the Decepticons are portrayed in this film as actually menacing, just like in the original cartoon series, like they should be portrayed. And the story does make sense, and it's pretty decent for the most part. And unlike all the other sequels and most of the other stuff, Starscream actually is portrayed well in this film, until he was back to being portrayed as this coward for the rest of the franchise. And it even spawned like that spin-off Bumblebee, which was supposed to be a prequel, but then got changed to a reboot stuff. And even many people who weren't big fans of Transformers, this movie literally attracted many people to the full series as a whole. And due to the film's success, Transformers Animated was created to tie in directly to it. And if it wasn't for this film and its promotional effect of the Transformers toy line, Hasbro probably would have been inspired to create My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, but we're not talking about that show, we're talking about this movie. And there's even some hilarious and funny quotes from Anthony Anderson's character, Glenn Whitman. Man, Glenn Whitman is probably the best character in this film, and he has some of the funny lines such as, "Shut up, Grandma! Grandma drank your produce!" Or how about this? "I ate the whole plate, okay? When they put this donuts here, and there's donuts here, and you eat them, and you don't eat them, then you're guilty. I ate the whole plate." And then the police come in, and because like him and this other girl named Maggie were kind of somewhat arrested, and he thinks the donuts thing were assigned that he could be released if he eats them all. And when he puts the files down, he's like, "She did it! She's the criminal you want!" Guy, I really wish they brought Glenn Whitman back for the sequels. He's hilarious. Like, he was such a scene stealer. And Michael Bay was even told by soldiers that this film helped their children understand what their work was like. This had many christened their buffaloes, the vehicle used for Bone Crusher, after various Transformers characters, and Mojo Sam's Chihuahua is kind of a cute pet, I will admit that. And the opening scene where Blackout destroys the Citizen Airbase was just pure awesome and badass. And like I said, the first film is the only decent film in the franchise, easily, and I love all the characters. And Transformers, most of the Transformers characters actually get a little more screen time than they do in their sequels. And and I actually also loved Hugo Weaving voicing Megatron. They didn't. I kind of wish they brought back a voice actor for Megatron from the cartoons, but Hugo Weaving really nailed Megatron in this. Like, even though Megatron doesn't really appear till the end, which is kind of a bad flaw, he does give a pretty good performance, and I will admit, at least the sequels do give Megatron more screen time. Well, Revenge of the Fallen, I will admit, does give Megatron more screen time, which was one redeeming quality, but Revenge of the Fallen can come later. Let's continue on with the first film. However, despite being the best of the Bay films, it has some bad qualities that prevent this from getting a 9 or 10, which is the negatives. And even though it's meant to be a Transformers film, both the Autobots and the Decepticons don't get a lot of screen time, and the film focuses mostly on the humans and Bumblebee. And the Autobots and the Decepticons' radical redesigns drew a divided response from fans, and yeah, they don't really look like Transformers in these movies. That's kind of a bit of a problem. It even has a lot of product placement, but then again, that's a trademark of Michael Bay. Well, it does make sense for the Transformers because they turn into cars and aircraft and certain other metal or electronic products. It overuses too many explosions, which is another Michael Bay trademark, and Decepticons aren't really explained quite well, making many watchers who aren't fans to be pretty confused. Kind of like me, who's not really too big of a Transformers fan myself. And the movie does portray most of the Decepticons as mindless animals that are out for destruction, unlike in the original series, and some continuing errors too. Like Brawl is named Devastator in the movie, while in the sequel there's another Decepticon with the same name, and the writers confirm that it's an error in the first movie. Some juvenile, typical Michael Bay humor, such as the scene where Bumblebee is lubricating Seymour, and Simmons in which he looks like he's peeing on him, and when Sam's mom thinks Sam is masturbating. Ugh. Some of the character angles was shaking, hard to see what was going on at times, and yeah, and the human characters annoy me quite a bit, especially Shia LaBeouf. Speaking of Shia LaBeouf, Sam Witwicky, while likable, is very flawed and unpredictable a lot, and he's not as bad in this movie as he is in the next two movies I'm going to get to, but man, is he really irritating. And he only worked with this movie. He should not have been in the sequels because his story was pretty much complete at the end of the first one. He didn't need to come back. And speaking of Witwicky, there's two other characters I hate. The Witwickies themselves, aka Sam's mom and dad. God, they are so irritating, they're not funny, and they just piss me off in this franchise. They are probably the most infuriating characters that always piss me off when I watch this movie. And of course, let's not forget, the film spawned 4 sequels, all of which would do worse than the movie. While Dark of the Moon does have some enjoyable moments, I will admit that I can tolerate, and gives the Transformers a bit more screen time, I still consider that a mediocre sequel at best, but the only tolerable of those sequels. However, despite those bad qualities, Transformers '07, I call it, is a movie that knows what it's trying to be. Just a ridiculous, fun, popcorn action film that's not really supposed to be taken seriously. The first one still holds up well today despite some shitty sequels it got. Anyway, Transformers '07 is a film worth checking out if you are a diehard Transformers fan and have not seen this movie yet. It's definitely worth checking out. And here's how I'm probably going to rank it. I am going to give Transformers an 8 out of 10. And there we go. That's it for my review for the first movie. Well, sadly, the best is out of the way now, and now we gotta go into the next 4 atrocities. Well, Dark of the Moon is tolerable. I mean like atrocities like Revenge, Age, and I gotta watch Last Night for the first time. Oh, God. But anyway, I want to know your opinions in the comments below. Do you love this movie? Are you one of the few rare people that actually really despises this movie as much as the sequels? Or yeah, if you just think this is an okay movie at best, let me know in the comments below, because I will take opinions regardless. And yeah, and now I gotta go watch Dark of the Moon a little bit because I watched both this yesterday afternoon and I watched Revenge of the Fallen last night. But now I gotta go watch Dark of the Moon a little bit. About to pop it on my Blu-ray player in a little bit and rewatch it and see how it holds up now. But until then, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like and subscribe to Movie Lover 120.